thank you for the invite, sir. I have to admit, I'm still getting used to the new look.
They said lose the mustache here.
RDJ is making a comeback as a villain. Hugh returns from the dead, and Chris Evans wraps up his role as the Human Torch. It's all showing just how wild the multiverse can get. Now the big question is whether Chris Evans will come back for his role as Nomad one more time. It's looking pretty promising. Stick around for the latest updates, including new photos and Chris Evans talking about his MCU return, which he calls a dream come true. But first, who is the Nomad? The Nomad identity in Marvel Comics has been worn by several characters over the years. It was first introduced by Steve Englehart and Sal Buscema in Captain America number 180 as an alternate persona for Steve Rogers after he becomes disillusioned with the US government. Rogers, feeling betrayed by a high-ranking official tied to a terrorist group, adopts the Nomad identity, characterized by a dark blue and yellow uniform without patriotic symbols. However, Rogers quickly returns to being Captain America after realizing he can still support American ideals without the government's support. Edward Ferbel took on the Nomad mantle briefly in Captain America number 261 to 263 as part of a plot by the Red Skull to discredit Captain America. He is ultimately killed by the Ameridroid. The most well-known Nomad is Jack Monroe, introduced as the third Bucky. After Steve Rogers is forced to give up his Captain America identity, Monroe becomes Nomad, though Rogers later adopts a new identity, the Captain. Monroe's Nomad run is notable for its prominence. Rikki Barnes, a version of Bucky from the Heroes Reborn series, later takes on the Nomad identity in the 2009 miniseries Nomad: Girl Without a World. Ian Rogers, the son of Arnim Zola, whom Captain America raises in Dimension Z, also becomes Nomad after being rescued and adopting a costume similar to his adoptive father's. Ian acts as the defender of Dimension Z and helps in various storylines, including the Axis event. Now that that's sorted, let's dive into Chris Evans' reaction to his cameo in Deadpool and Wolverine. Evans is famously known for playing Steve Rogers, aka Captain America, in the MCU. Before that iconic role, he was Marvel's Johnny Storm in the earlier Fantastic Four movies. In a fun twist, he made a quick cameo as Johnny Storm in the MCU, joining the Deadpool and Wolverine cast for a brief moment in this R-rated fourth-wall-breaking film. On his Instagram stories, Chris Evans shared a behind-the-scenes photo from the set of Deadpool and Wolverine. Check out a screenshot of the story below. In his story, Evans praised Hugh Jackman, Ryan Reynolds, and director Sean Levy, calling them three of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. He described getting to reprise his role as Johnny Storm as a dream come true, adding that the character will always have a special place in my heart. So now the question is, will Chris Evans ever hold another major role in the MCU? Avengers Endgame seemed to mark the end of Chris Evans' time as Captain America. However, his cameo in Deadpool and Wolverine and his enthusiastic reaction have sparked speculation about whether he might return for another major role in the MCU. There are a few upcoming opportunities where this could happen. First up is Captain America: Brave New World, which will debut on February 14, 2025, featuring Sam Wilson as the new Captain America. Another possibility is the Fantastic Four: First Steps, releasing on July 25, 2025, which will star Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm. Given MCU history, it seems unlikely that Chris Evans will return as either of his characters in the 2025 films. Captain America didn't show up in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which preceded Brave New World. Also, while John Krasinski had a cameo as Reed Richards in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, Pedro Pascal will take on a role in the upcoming Fantastic Four film. It's unclear if Evans might make a cameo in Fantastic Four like Krasinski did, but it's still up in the air. Post Deadpool and Wolverine, Chris Evans' busy schedule might make it tough for him to take on another major role. He has a few projects lined up, including the Christmas action comedy Red One, where he'll star alongside Dwayne Johnson and J.K. Simmons. Additionally, he's set to play a significant role in the upcoming film Sacrifice, which is in pre-production and features a star-studded cast including Anya Taylor-Joy, Salma Hayek, and Brendan Fraser. So will Chris Evans return for Avengers 5 and 6? While Chris Evans might not return to the MCU in the immediate future, there's a chance he could make a comeback in movies further down the line. The most likely opportunities for his return could be in the big crossover events Avengers Doomsday, scheduled for May 1st, 2026, and Avengers Secret Wars, set for May 7th, 2027. These upcoming Avengers films have already set a precedent for the potential return of familiar faces like Evans. The recent news that Robert Downey Jr. will be returning to the MCU, now as the villain Doctor Doom in both Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars, adds an interesting twist. With Downey Jr.'s salary for these films reportedly significantly more than $80 million, it might be challenging for the studio to afford additional A-list talent from previous MCU eras, especially given the already extensive Avengers cast. However, bringing back more original stars like Chris Evans could potentially boost the new Avengers films to record-breaking success, which might make the investment worthwhile, especially in light of recent box office disappointments like the Marvels. Plus, there is a way that Avengers Secret Wars can properly wrap up Chris Evans' Marvel tenure. If Chris Evans shows up in the upcoming Avengers movies, it's probably going to be as someone other than Captain America. His story was wrapped up nicely in Avengers Endgame when he went back in time and got to grow old with Peggy Carter. Bringing him back as Captain America could mess with that ending, so it might make more sense to see him return as the Human Torch instead. Chris Evans originally played the Human Torch in the live-action movies, though Jay Underwood did it in a 1994 version that never hit theaters, and Michael B. Jordan took over in the not-so-great 2015 Fantastic Four film. Now that Evans' Johnny Storm is part of the MCU, it would be cool to see him get a proper send-off. His cameo in Deadpool and Wolverine left him in a tough spot, similar to how John Krasinski's Reed Richards ended up in Multiverse of Madness. A fitting way to wrap up his early role would be for Johnny Storm to come back and help take down a major Fantastic Four villain for good. But I can't ignore the fact that after his cameo as Johnny Storm in Deadpool and Wolverine, Chris Evans shared his thoughts on returning as Captain America in future MCU films. Speaking with Us Weekly, Evans expressed doubt about reprising his role as Steve Rogers, stating that while he cherishes his time as Captain America, he believes it might be best to leave that chapter behind. Evans acknowledged the special nature of his return as Johnny Storm, revealing that Ryan Reynolds played a significant role in persuading him to take on the role again. He described the experience as deeply rewarding and praised Reynolds for his influence, suggesting that Reynolds' charm and humor could be a great asset for future Marvel projects. Even though Evans seemed unsure about donning the Captain America suit again, suggesting that his time as Steve Rogers might be best left behind, he hasn't ruled out playing Nomad in an alternate timeline. Marvel actors often play coy about their return. Just look at Andrew Garfield with Spider-Man and Daphne Keane with X-23. So there's still hope for a comeback. Well, that's it for today. What do you think about the possibility of Chris Evans returning as Nomad or any other character in the MCU? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video.